but they was like detailing the events of the night in Amsterdam, and it just sounded like the most horrific, like the visualization I had of the situation while reading it was just so dark, so horrific, so terrible. You would have thought this bitch was Lex Luthor. You know what I mean?
Damn.
One of the biggest problems I think in these is the news cycle. Like journalism is like one of the biggest fuelers of this like mob mentality of these like situations where like Lizzo will come out and they'll say, "Oh, she was a bad boss," and then like somebody else will be like, "Yeah, you know what? She cut me off in traffic one time," and then the article will like write that as if like new accusers come out. Like it's like, wait, hold on, like that's it's like, what does that have to do with this situation? Like,
and that's my point, bro. That's my point. Like I don't want to be a contributor to the bullshit, right? And again, we saw it with once you start speculating, we saw it with majors, right? Where like everybody was feeding off of like speculation, one way or another. But again, I do think that
it's a red flag.
I will say that she's talented at decanceling herself, maybe more so than Drake.
I don't know.
No, because she's had more and worse scandals, and the speed with which she recovers is quite astronomical. Like it low key don't even seem like it matters or slows anything down.
But yeah, with Doja. So my point with that was, I think arguably her biggest scandal didn't really hold up to much scrutiny. Like she's in racial chat room showing feet situation kind of didn't hold up to much scrutiny. It was kind of like she was in some chat room saying some questionable shit with some questionable people, but like, I mean, who didn't?
This nigga Alfred about to come out with some fucking, who hasn't hung out with Nazis? We've all done it. What the fuck?
Who hasn't been in some racist chat rooms and said some wild shit to some racist folks?
Never in my life, but I think I get your point.
No, I mean, like, so for example, like I don't really have a lot of wild shit online, because by the time I was fully online, I was too grown to make those kind of mistakes. But I always say all the time that if I had been like
online earlier,
a Gen Zer,
oh definitely.
If I had been a Gen Zer, because by the time like social media was fully developed, I was like 16, man. You know what I mean? We were old enough to like have some kind of.
I feel like 16 was, at least me, wasn't full sense. Like I definitely.
That was Facebook. That was Facebook.
Yeah, but I was drastically different level of like knowing what's going on or what's
Facebook.
wild.
MySpace was 16.
Yeah, but I didn't.
No. MySpace came way before Facebook.
That's fair.
Like
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We had I mean, I'm older than y'all, but. I remember MySpace came out like high school, like maybe when I was a sophomore, junior in high school or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like the social media involvement, I've never gravitated heavily towards it. Like, as far as like active and participating and just doing dumb shit online.
Yeah. Low key same.
But had a nigga been like online at 13, 14, like the Gen Zers?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I never hung with neo-Nazis on a stream or anything like that as a kid. But I see what you're saying, which is that, like, you like, especially like Tumblr times, you're hanging out with, like, who's online? Like, what is there available to consume? And you're kind of just looking and seeing like, oh, this, because that's what everybody's porn journey is like, or that's what everybody's like gore journey is like, where you see some fucked up shit and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, oh, okay, I guess that's over there. Let me go over here or whatever. And you're just kind of, it's free for all, Wild West shit. So if you end up in a wild chat room, you just go, oh, okay, what are these folks doing? Let me watch this or whatever. So I get it, but it seems like she was participating heavy, like.
She was participating heavy.
But that's one of the things about Doja Cat was like she was just heavily online, period. Like that was part of like what made her such a strong and marketable. Person. Yeah, like so, going down all these webs and shit, but not anyway. But as far as like the scrutiny that she got, she's received a lot of scrutiny and backlash. But the thing I believe about her, and then especially with the comments that she's made about her fans, like just how she was like, man, like look, niggas, fuck y'all. Y'all don't even know me like that. Okay, fuck y'all, okay? But her music too damn good. Like even her fans are like, man, fuck you, Doja. I want to be mad, but goddamn, this is like the music too good.
Paint the terror, okay, or shit like that.
Even her rap is like her music, like even her rap album is gonna be fucking good. Like everything she's released, you want to, like, I mean, not me personally, but like niggas want to hate it, but
yeah, that's what I'm
the
saying.
music
She's
good.
a trumpet rap. Every time she get canceled off some bullshit, she just drop another hit and keep it pushing. And people go, fuck, all right, well, we'll see you on the finish line. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead and pop an intro off. Let me go ahead and pop an intro off. You know. Yep. So welcome to Waving the Red Flag.
Brought to you by NPR.
Brought to you by NPR. We cannot be canceled. The takes are just too good. That's the kind of podcast that we're running.
That's what we.
The number one
gang.
The number one decancellation and social media historical trend podcast in the world, in the universe.
Yeah, let them know.
Featuring Eddie Overgold. You guys may have heard of him. Big friend of the channel.
Happened to predictability.
Showing some love.
You're like a freeze frame.
Newsman.
Starring Eddie Overgold.
And you just like walk into a door and just like smile. Yeah, but we got Eddie, we got Josh, we got myself. Josh is like dribbling a basketball and just like stops or some shit, like some Eddie Winslow type shit.
He got the flats, this shit. He got this
flat top. Yeah. Yo, dead ass. When I was like 5, that was my haircut when I was little.
I know. Yeah.
I had the high top fade, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh man, fuck. Dude.
That was damn. That was good. That was fucking good.
Yeah, clean.
Yeah, man.
We experts, baby.
Yeah.
I haven't had to do it to them. We really do this shit.
Something.
We really do this shit.
We do something like this shit, basically weekly.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
I mean, 10,000 hours, baby.
Ooh, big shit.
That's the title of the memoir. You got to write that shit down.
10,000 hours, baby.
Yeah, 10,000 hours, baby.
Yeah.
Memoir.
Yeah, let's go.
That's gonna be the book after Dick and Dignity.
Honestly, Dick and Dignity, about 10,000 hours, baby, by Eddie Overgold.
Oh no. So okay, Dick and Dignity, like you know what I'm saying. That's a conjoined effort.
Oh, okay. Pause. Yeah.
Dick and Dignity got to come first.
Okay.
And then
Pause.
we releasing 10,000 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like the locks, man. It's like the locks. We got to put out shit together first, and then we do the solo projects, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Establish ourselves, and then we branch off like the Migos.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yes, of course, but you know, R.I.P.
I know.
But like
Damn, Josh.
I know. Yeah, you know.
I don't think he
Destiny's Child. I
was.
don't know.
That's also a bad example. Like maybe Odd Future, like is maybe the.
No, because there was beef. Like I don't know. there was beef with Odd Future, but yeah.
True, but I feel like Odd Future launched the most like individually successful careers from the maybe Wu-Tang. Maybe
so like
is
Wu-Tang is better,
Yeah.
but like Odd Future, so you got Frank, you got Earl,
Sid.
you got Tyler, you got the internet.
yeah. That's like
Ooh,
four
Steve Lacy.
solid.
But
And Lacy.
everybody
That's
from
five.
Wu-Tang.
Domo Genesis.
Oh yeah. But I'm just saying, like, look, man, like 5 of them Wu-Tang niggas went platinum by themselves.
Okay,
You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
yeah,
Like,
Come on, you got Ghostface,
yeah.
fucking Method Man.
Ghostface went platinum multiple times and gold several times after that. You know what I mean? Like Method Man went platinum several times.
Raekwon,
Yeah.
the RZA. Come, I mean, yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Raekwon,
So
but
that's-
fucking
ODB
Yeah,
went
ODB,
platinum by
yeah.
himself. Like all of them niggas like
Yeah.
popped off.
RZA and Jizza.
So I would say those two were close. I mean, Odd Future kind of had more of like a spaghetti against the wall kind of methodology because they had like 57 people that was in the collective.
They weren't a group. They were a cultural collective. Like I think Odd Future is kind of special.
Oh, whereas Wu-Tang was like, here's an album that we all
Wu-Tang
did
was a
together,
group.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
Roots. Yeah, they was.
Yeah, Wu-Tang was like, we are a
Yeah.
group.
Odd Future was an artist collective, and they made various groups
branded
out
it.
of that, but they didn't drop like, here's the Odd Future album. It's 75 niggas on this album, which would have been wild. Yeah.
I just got reminded of when Frank Ocean beat up Chris Brown. Like beat up Chris Brown and a bodyguard. Yeah. There's footage. There's video footage.
Remember that? Really?
Damn, I was not tracking.
Yeah, it's happened some years ago. And Frank Ocean's talked about it in like
Yeah,
songs
man.
that you probably heard. And he was actually talking about a fight between Chris Brown, his bodyguard, and somebody
yeah, man.
else.
My guy, pretty
There's
like
a
a girl,
fucking
and he
tornado
got
in the
fight
room,
stories
man,
to tell,
you know?
and he talking about beating the shit out of
He's talking about
Chris
himself.
that also implies that Chris Brown and Frank Ocean dated, but yeah, it's interesting.
That's like domestic abuse if that was that, but nah, it's crazy. Because recently I learned that it was actually Frank Ocean that was the victor in the fight, but I thought that he got jumped and like lost because he got jumped. But now this nigga like fought Chris Brown, his bodyguard, and some other niggas like 3-on-1. Yeah, that motherfucker got hands, man.
Well, yeah, Alvin.
Eddie,
I think you were going to say something in the vein of lead host duties.
so first of all,
he said I didn't sign up for that part. Okay.
just for the people, the actual script says co-host.
Lead co-host.
Doesn't say co-host, yes. It doesn't say it says lead co-host. So somebody's supposed to be hosting with me, nigga.
We all host. We all co-hosts. Everybody co-host.
Then why even make a distinction if we all co-host?
It's co-host and lead co-host.
In the parenthetical.
It's co-host and lead co-host. It's like secondary. It's like second AD.
You know good goddamn well.
This nigga just making shit up on the fly.
Hold on. Am I tripping? What you mean?
Look, man, it's cool, man. It's cool. I understand now. I understand.
Wait, do we?
Do we?
But you know good and damn well you tripping. All right, so when I hosted this motherfucker, like when I lead co-hosted this shit, it's to say some shit here in the beginning, say some shit at the end, and then transition between the topics. Man. Pick a topic, we'll talk.
Look, man, I'm just
recalcitrant for no reason.
I'm just fucking vamping right now, man. And this is what I do. Love it. This is what I do. All right,
we love it. Oh yeah,
this is my co-hosting style.
Cool.
Damn shit. Oh. I can't do this my way on this podcast.
Yes, you can, brother.
I'm fucking
hey, do it how you do it, baby.
King, my nigga.
That's
have it your way, baby.
That's a fact.
You want to talk about this kind of shit?
My pushback is part of the.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. Let's talk about the cash shit.
What even happened there? I really don't follow his. I don't know anything about him, at all, honestly.
So I'm not saying that I'm super familiar with him because the platforms in which he is most popular are platforms that I don't use that much. His Twitch base is phenomenal. I'm not on Twitch like that. He's got 6.5 million on Twitch or some shit like that. But effectively what he did was he said he's doing a giveaway, in New York.
Okay.
And he's like, you come, you answer a question, boom, you getting a fucking PS5, off the rip. But you put that shit out to your various platforms where you all have, 4 million plus followers on there. So they swarm the spot and we're getting fucking rowdy and shit.
We heard some flash bombs going off. We saw firecrackers being set off.
Tonight, a sea of damage, debris, and a jarring reminder of the sheer power of social media.
We have encountered things like this before, but never to this level of dangerousness.
Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois.
And I'm Christine John.
And I get where he was coming from. He kind of just wanted to be a fun thing for his fans. I don't fault him for that. I think that I think his heart was in the right place. I think he was just trying to do something.
He's
cool.
done shit like that before. Well, similar with.
But the thing was, he didn't have any permits, so they got him for unlawful assembly. It got kind of rowdy. There was no crowd control, and I don't think they expected it to be as big as it was. I think they were expecting hundreds of people just showing up to a park,
not thousands.
A square, not thousands.
Yeah.
But I don't blame him. I don't know what you think about it, Josh, as somebody who's also tracking to it. Yeah. But I don't blame him, man. I think bad things happen sometimes. You couldn't.
Yeah.
He couldn't have predicted that. He probably could have done a little bit better on the planning side, but I honestly don't know.
He does, but not. I don't. But I don't think he expected it to get that out of hand, or to get out of hand like that for one of them that many people to congregate. But yeah, I don't fault him for that, especially for the repercussions that he's trying to get with that they're making against him, actually charging him, pressing charges and shit, and trying to give him a record. I think that's bullshit. Because there's been so many different instances where there was one person who had a large gathering, shit got out of hand, but you ain't hearing no reports of that motherfucker getting charged.
Is that true?
Nonsense. As far as I know, what I've seen, hey, in the realm of facts, possibly. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it could be true. I said it.
Also, like the thing
like
I
me,
want to highlight specifically with
Hell
it.
yeah, goddamn shit. This is if you want facts, Alvin is your nigga.
Go
Okay,
somewhere
man,
else.
that'll just be bullshit.
Yeah.
This is how I feel.
Go watch FD if you want some cited resources.
Yeah, there you go. Right. This is not that podcast.
The thing I want to highlight though is that he's still a very young guy,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of his fame is fairly new.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
like so I think he's still trying to navigate, you know, like what that looks like. I got like a, and then I'm looking at myself in the camera.
Was it like a piece of
I
fluff?
do. But yeah, but he's still extremely young.
Mm-hmm.
His fame is fairly new. His fame is also in a sector where a lot of people still don't fully understand how to tackle his fame, right? How many agents fully know how to
manage this or what it is?
manage the world's biggest Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's still new ground, and trying to get a good read on how these kind of giveaway situations will flow. I think
that's probably the best
only
point.
comparable. Yeah, I think the only comparable situation that you probably could have had is like shit, you know, Mr. Beast. I think this is probably the only comparable that you probably have to kind of judge what this situation would be like. But
we probably wouldn't have done it.
So I don't live and learn, but I don't think he's like. I think he's getting a lot of unnecessary heat for what actually happened.
See, because I think it's a little bit like a newsletter where you go, if you've got a newsletter of 10,000 people who are, I don't know, let's say they're gardening enthusiasts or whatever, and you send out a letter to 10,000 people to do a gathering. When 10,000 people show up to a park and you don't have a fucking permit, you get in trouble. I don't know if it's a legal thing. I don't know how, but it's like if you have that group and you tell them to gather and they gather in numbers that are well beyond what you're permitted by the city to do, you get in trouble. And so if you go, okay, well, it was Instagram followers or it was Twitter followers or it was Twitch, subscribers or whatever, like that's the same thing. But so that's just in disagreement with Josh. But Alan makes a good point.
Okay,
that, like,
fair.
We don't really have rules or like we don't have a proper playbook. Actually, I don't know if that's true. Like this Twitch affiliate program is pretty built out. Like these motherfuckers have managers. Like they know it's not Wild West.
Yeah,
it's not Wild West, but again, he's 21, man.
Yes,
like you know what I mean. So like he had like by definition,
break a law at
hasn't been
21 is
doing
still
this
a
shit.
law that you broke. Like
I'm not saying that he shouldn't get his slap on the wrist from a legal perspective, right? Unlawful assembly, cool, whatever.
Hit him with the fine or
I'm
whatever,
saying that the heat that he's getting for like I'm seeing people online saying that like how dare he do this?
Oh yeah.
Like
no, it's just some dumb silly
like
shit.
that, like
he
that
didn't
kind
know
of
what
situation.
what his newsletter, like mailing list was like, and he accidentally did an unlawful assembly, whatever.
People got hurt, and I don't think that that's necessarily all on him. Like people are still trying to figure out what this looks like.
I mean, but that's some bullshit. Like that's the bullshit of it. For one, like as far as like management, I have to put a little bit more onus on his management because it's not like they don't know how to handle a celebrity and fame. Because the Twitch streamer like aspect of it, like okay, like that adds like a little bit of a caveat, but it's still like this is a famous person. This is a person of notoriety that people are going to flock to. Like they know how to handle that.
Yeah.
But as far as like Kyle's concerned, like like maybe he wasn't thinking, but I spoke too rashly before. Yes, I do believe that he should get a slap on the wrist because like he did basically incite like an unlawful congregation of all these people. I get that, but I think they're coming after him way too hard, and I honestly do believe that if this was somebody else, like a Mr. Beast or like one of these very other popular, lovable like white creators, they wouldn't actually be charging this motherfucker with all these things that they charging him for.
You might
like
be right.
It's, like, and then because like they blaming everything all on him, but like it's like nah, like you got his fan base is hella young. You see like all these dumbass kids out here, and then like they just
people were showing up
property.
with their parents. People were showing up with their parents. That's how young his base is.
Yeah.
There was a mother like I showed up with my son
to get
trying to get a PS5 and
yeah.
shit. But here's my point, right? And here's the example that I'm giving, right? So recently there have been a lot of really big artists that have been canceling shows because they can't sell out the venues, right? So they're just canceling it. And they're using or at least the theory is that they're using streaming numbers to kind of say like, oh, this person's popping. They can actually sell out an arena. Right. So we're going to do a headlining tour to do all this, right? We still don't know
the real world
rates in which people will show up. Yeah, the real world translation of streaming digital numbers, right? So I think it's very reasonable that they saw his following. They said, okay, we're probably going to get a couple hundred people and then a few thousand people showed up because they underestimated. Because again, there are a lot of people using digital footprint metrics to overestimate this stuff and fucking go. And again, Spotify is much. I agree, but Spotify is also much more mature than the level of Twitch streaming fame that he's gotten. So I do think, again, like I'm not completely absolving him of saying like, you know, the slap on the wrist thing is unjust. I don't think it's unjust, but I do think that the level of hate and vitriol that he's getting online doesn't take into consideration the context that people are still trying to figure out what this looks like from a translation perspective.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, because again, Lil Baby is huge, right? And I'm a huge Lil Baby fan. Lil Baby, one of the rappers that's actually from Atlanta. He's actually from the city. So I rep him hard. Like, can't sell out these stadiums, and people thought he was going to be able to because his streaming numbers are huge. And so like they fucked up based on like that perspective. So I think the pendulum can swing the other way.
Yeah, but I think what we'll find is that like Twitch stream stuff is a different beast entire. Like it's not, because music and other kinds of content are totally fucking different. So if people sit up here and watch you like talk and interact and be for hours on end, that connection that a creator has to their audience is way stronger than somebody being like, yeah, I streamed this song, 20 times in a day. Am I going to buy a ticket and go to, where they showed up? Like, those are two very different things. So I think a streamer is in a different situation. But what's interesting to me is I'm surprised shit like this doesn't happen. Like, I think this is just me putting on my evil villain hat for a second. Like, it's always just shocked me that more wild shit doesn't happen with that level of mega celebrity. Like if Kai Cenat like ran for like office in New York and just didn't do anything, like I think he could win.
He could be a city councilman, easy.
Right, and never do the job well.
City council,
just
easy.
to have the title. Yeah, fuck it. Like, by the way, I just am city council. I feel like they could do that type of shit, and I'm like, I'm surprised more crazy shit doesn't happen like that. Like, we got a protest in mind. Let's just bring 10,000 people to this bitch because fuck it. Like, I'm just surprised more abuses don't happen.
Yeah. I don't think they even think about it, like to do it. And then plus, even if they did, it's like I don't feel like I don't want to put up with that shit. But it's like I don't even want to put up with that shit.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, you got 6 million, but like think because you still have to put in.
And that's one platform, by the way. That's one platform is 6.5 million. That I did verify.
Yeah, because like I follow his shit mainly on YouTube. Well, like loosely, like I catch a lot of his content. Not don't watch like full streams, but just to give.
Like I'm grown. I'm an adult.
Full streams of AMP and content, but
I ain't no little
familiar
kid
with them. You know what I'm saying? But like,
I watch Cocomelon sometime, but
make no mistake, I am grown.
I mean, no, fuck that, no. I'm team RDC. You know what I'm saying? If it was anything,
you the one. I'm about to put that out. You about to make the summer. That's it.
Okay.
Oh, dead ass.
You know what I'm saying? I'm team RDC.
Mark Phillips for real, bro. Shout out to fucking Mark Phillips.
Shout out to DreamCon.
That motherfucker's team is fucking hilarious.
Shout out to Mark. Shout out to RDC. Shout out to DreamCon 2023. Even though it's crazy.
Into existence, 2024, we're gonna try and show up.
Yo, that'd be dope.
Houston. Yeah.
That'd be dope as fuck. We gonna all have to go out waving the red flag.
Man, we're gonna be on a panel. Fuck it. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, and hell yeah, nigga. Hats.
Live pod
hoodies,
show, DreamCon
t-shirts.
2024. Let's get it popping.
Fans, supporters, we need you to rally.
Nah, seriously.
We don't have 6.5 million, but we got
between
13.
now and then we got 1 year. 18. Folks who are listening, we got 1 year to get our numbers up to where it makes sense to have us as an appearance at DreamCon 2024. Because our anime panel would be bonkers, like just between you and Alvin. Like, come on,
dead ass.
I mean, but
dead
you
ass for real.
Not dead ass, yeah, because you got the comics. You and Alvin got the
That's
comics.
what I'm saying. Between me and Alvin on comics and you and Alvin on anime, like that would be a good ass fit. So let's make it happen.
Yeah.
What you were saying,
but yeah. Thank you. Yeah, basically, yeah. Because as far as like running for government, because you're right. The motherfuckers could be doing a lot more with their celebrity power and like really leveraging that shit for evil, or just
they could be doing wild shit.
That's what I was gonna say, Josh. That's what me and you on the same time. Thank God they don't. Thank God he doesn't fucking.
Yeah,
because he win easily.
He win, but the real. I'm just gonna finish this out real quick. The thing is,
go ahead.
It's a matter of fact. I don't think that even if they think about it, it's like no, I don't want to deal with that shit because you actually do got to put in you got to jump through like some ropes, some hoops and ropes or whatever. Do a little dog and pony here and there. It's like I don't want to deal with that shit, even though I fucking could. But whatever.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to add was just for context for anybody who doesn't fully understand. If you're a New York city councilman, that's like a big fucking deal. That's not like a small potatoes kind of thing, right? There are people who were thrust into the national spotlight just for being like a New York City official. Like that's how big of a deal New York City politics is. Rudy Giuliani has only like been like, not only,
but mostly,
because that's not true.
Like a large part of his career.
His biggest claim to fame was being the mayor of New York City. Michael Bloomberg running for president and all that kind of stuff was mayor of New York City.
Damn, I hope we haven't made a monster by putting this out there. Well, I'm sure this won't get to Kai.
I mean, shit. Could it really be that bad? It might be. It might be good.
You think so? You think Kai Cenat as a city councilman?
Hey man, I think more Gen Zers and young millennials in office is a net positive.
True. Do I him? I don't know him. Maybe he would be good. I don't know. I don't know his.
My biggest
vibes.
thing with like that situation is, so you saw this kind of stuff with like the squad, right? I feel like they lack that that political savvy. At least in the beginning, they lacked that political savvy. Like AOC 100% lacked it, where like she didn't know how to play the game, how to network, how to drive an initiative, which is why she has the fewest bills that have gotten out of committee of like
squad,
any of like the squad member.
Ilhan, like is that who that
yes,
is?
that group. Yeah. That group. So I do think there's some kind of things that like require a learning curve that like younger millennials and Gen Z wouldn't have. But as far as like ideology and philosophy, I'm 100% pro like Gen Zers, young millennials getting in office. Like they can figure that shit out on the fly, man. It ain't that hard. It's just like a little bit of a learning curve.
And I mean, people have been fucking up being in politics for the longest. So I think the closest thing though to like them leveraging their followers for fucked up shit is like dodgy sponsorship, like the whole crypto shit where they was just selling dog shit like bullshit coins, NFTs and shit. I feel like that was that. But I'm just surprised that more of that shit doesn't happen. Like just because there's so many like right wing fucked up like you know what I'm saying, like just the fact that like all that streamer shit touches the like Jordan Petersons and the Ben Shapiros and the Andrew Tates and shit. I'm surprised it's not more like dangerous rallies happening. Like it feels like something could boil over at any given time when you just have tons and tons of people with just 6 million subscribers just walking around, you know.
But you got to think about their content.
It's January 6th, man.
Right.
Like, but it's like that person's content, like their content is like neutral. Like it's
true. It's not
silly,
really. It's not
fun.
like
they're not pushing an agenda.
True.
So
that's
that's not what we're doing.
He's having fun. He's having fun on his stream.
He definitely has access to all those pipelines you mentioned, and if he really did rally them,
he touches the sneaker. Yeah. Like Kai Cenat is not. You can. I think one step of what you call it to get to Aiden Ross or fucking Tate or fucking Sneeko. Like it's not. He's not like that far removed.
No, I mean they all know each other.
And also he's big enough.
He can.
No, I just said they all know each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's big enough where like he 100% traverses in those like same circles, but he's also like just like a completely different kind of like entertainer. You know what I mean? Like his lane is wide, but it doesn't, and it runs parallel, but I don't think it intersects much. But it could if he wanted it to.
If he wanted to.
It 100% could.
So I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm
if
glad
he wanted
a good dude, or I mean, I don't know if he's a good dude, but I'm glad a not crazy
decent
person
enough.
has that. Yeah, decent enough person has that. Yo, what y'all think about that Lizzo shit though?
Tired of hearing about it already.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So I'm gonna give my same disclaimer.
Okay.
That I gave for Jonathan Majors.
Okay.
I don't think it serves anyone well to discuss the Lizzo situation in current state. I broke my Jonathan Majors.
Silence.
I'm not going to talk about it until stuff happens, mostly because I wanted to address people and people's stupidity from my perspective, people's stupidity on how they were handling that situation, not to actually comment on the Jonathan Majors situation in and of itself. But I truly think that I want to handle the Lizzo situation very similar to how I said I wanted to handle the Jonathan Majors situation, is that I don't think it serves anybody well to speak on that, because you're either going to be parroting anti-victim rhetoric and you're not going to roll it back, or you're going to have to continuously comment on it and roll back, every single thing as new information comes across. Like, I don't think it serves anybody well to put that out into the ether, especially as our audience grows and especially as people listen to us more. I think it's I think it's semi-irresponsible but that's just my personal things. You know, like I'm only lead co-host for one night. So
This show
that's
night,
a good
baby.
point.
Feel free for y'all to jump in, but that was just the only thing I wanted to.
I think
like,
she did
say
that shit.
from
No,
jump.
I'm just kidding. I
She
don't.
did, that's right.
No,
Right, this bitch is guilty. Yeah.
I
Take that,
think. I mean,
Jonathan Majors.
everybody guilty.
If this nigga Josh had came out with that, I would have fucking died. I would have fucking spit my whiskey out. This nigga would have just like, hey man, I hear what you're saying, but she's fucking guilty.
Yeah, as a motherfucker, boy.
I ain't never seen a
seen
motherfucker as guilty as this woman right here.
I think, I mean, yeah, it's possible, whatever. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. Because, I mean, I see people saying, you know, they you know, there's like interviews of them saying good things about her, da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, because people lie about their bosses. Like, that's not evidence one way or the other. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, she definitely did this shit. Like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. But I do think the concept of folks being held to account for like the hostile work environments that they create is a good conversation that should happen.
I'll say this on my perspective of it, because you know I agree with Alvin. So I guess the way in which I'll attack it, the conversation is just like the court of public opinion, right?
Yeah.
And how information is perceived in the court of public opinion, and then just people's readiness to tear down and just crucify
They've been waiting
somebody,
on
like,
LIZZO.
just to rally, but for anything, anybody, because we can maybe get into this a little bit later, even with Jamie Foxx, but we'll table that. But it's just anytime something comes out about somebody, it looks really bad. Like the mob cannot help but get on somebody's ass, regardless of the information that's out there, or whatever. But just I was like an article I read that showed maybe it was like a deposition. I'm probably using the wrong word, but they was like detailing the events of the night in Amsterdam, and it just sounded like the most horrific. Like the visualization I had of the situation while reading it was just so dark, so horrific, so terrible. You would have thought this bitch was Lex Luthor. You know what I mean?
Damn.
No, these articles, because that was a thing that was a point that I was making. Now, I'm not making one claim one way or the other, but that was a point that I feel like when these situations happen, one of the biggest problems I think in these is the news cycle. Like journalism is like one of the biggest fuelers of this like mob mentality of these like situations where like Lizzo will come out and they'll say, oh, she was a bad boss, and then like somebody else will be like, yeah, you know what? She cut me off in traffic one time, and then the article will like write that as if like new accusers come out. Like it's like, wait, hold on, like that's it's like, what does that have to do with this situation? Like,
and that's my point, bro. That's my point. Like I don't want to be a contributor to the bullshit, right? Mm-hmm. And again, we saw it with once you start speculating, we saw it with majors, right? Where like everybody was feeding off of like speculation, one way or another. But again, I do think that, and I think Josh said it beautifully when we talked about Jonathan Majors last time, where I think that through all of this, you know, I hope that victims continue to have grace and we continue to work with victims and all that kind of stuff, because I do think that the true onus of society should be towards the victims. But at the end of the day, man, we don't know shit at this point, right? Like it's a bunch of hearsay one way or another until we continue to unfold evidence. And it's just like unless I will include us in this, unless we're going to continue to update from an objective standpoint, each individual update on what unfolds with this case, to continue to provide objective evidence and thought. Like, it doesn't really serve anybody well to just say like one way or another, oh, we put out a video and then we leave it, because that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people take one stance,
don't revisit
they
shit.
Don't exactly.
See,
they're not fluid with the context of it.
We've revisited with Jonathan Majors. Like if we go, hey, look, like I don't think you necessarily have to go. And this is now me like meta addressing the thing that you're pointing out. I kind of think if you go, hey, look, we addressed it at this point, and then when things got to a particular point where there was a new, crescendo of information, you go, okay, we revisit it here. And then when trial starts, that'd be another one. When trial concludes, that'd be another one, where you're kind of updating it as it goes, but never saying, never exaggerating like emotionally in the way that I think articles often do, where they go like, 17 accusers come forward, or somebody recants stuff and you really read the article and it's like 15 of these accusers are not, these are tweets that someone sent about them being a dickhead 20 years ago. They're not the same thing as an accuser. Yeah. But if you go, okay, look, here we've updated based on this new chapter of the story. Not every day, but that seems fair enough to me. But that's I'm not claiming that as a fact, but
we can attack the circus, but maybe not attack the case itself. Well, at least that's maybe like my thought behind it.
Wait, what does that mean?
Like the circus meaning like the court of public opinion, the media, how they're portraying it, But the case itself and dealing with like facts, it's like I think it's more important for us to be maybe like a little bit more neutral, because that's okay, because like we don't have the climate.
Yeah.
Well, and respecting the climate and then giving like the victim grace. But I don't honestly believe in just crucifying a motherfucker because
and not crucifying
accused of shit. Like, hey, put you on pause a little bit. I ain't saying that you don't deserve to earn a fucking wage, a livable wage, or perform again, or be in a movie again. Not, what I'm saying? Like, but I think, attack the circus, speak about the circus of it all. I think that's okay.
Come out.
The case itself and judgment itself on those individuals involved in the case, leave that for after whatever.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I want Gordon Ramsay to get his shit.
Man,
I feel like
nah, dog. I don't believe
Gordon, man.
You made me. I said this motherfucker.
It's not happening, man. It's not happening, man.
Man,
if it was gonna happen, it would have didn't happen.
Nah,
that's because it ain't real, nigga.
It's fucking redder than your beard, and look at me. We're still raw.
Yes, sir.
No. I'm done. Look at the mess. What the fuck are you three doing?
Rico class action, man. Once these people get organized, people say like, "Oh, he's acting, bro." Come on, like y'all really think that this motherfucker is never an asshole? So what you're telling me is in an industry,
nigga, you're an asshole.
Yeah, no, yeah, but I think I'm a relatively
that's what I'm saying. That was waiting till the fucking Eddie Overgold like papers like get released.
Well, I don't know.
Me and Josh gonna fucking.
Are you? Are you? Is that the implication? Because do you have any grievances?
No. My whole point in saying that was that you being an asshole sometimes does not equal a class action lawsuit.
No, okay, but. I agree, which is a point I made before, which is like asshole. It's not illegal to be an asshole, but I think when you talk about a workplace, there are some different expectations depending on the workplace, and as much of an asshole
and depending on the state,
I don't think
/ country, excuse me,
/ nation, yeah, I don't think that. Let me just go back to my previous point, which was, do we really think that in an industry that we know is rife, like y'all have watched The Bear and shit like that, like in an industry that we know is rife with emotional, psychological, verbal, physical, and sexual abuse, right, which is a hospitality cuisine industry, that a person who has made themselves famous as a no-nonsense, hard-ass, aggressive head chef on a reality show, that he's purely pulling that out of his ass from nowhere? Like, what are the odds of that? Like that seems like giving him grace that doesn't even make sense.
The chef that trained him was the same way.
No, I didn't make Gordon Ramsay cry. He made himself cry. That was his choice to cry.
Exactly.
So
that's my point.
I will say that in my in my industry, that you have a lot of people that I would say are hard asses, but like. You can be a hard ass and you can push people hard without crossing that line. I feel like Gordon Ramsay might be one of those people that like steps right up to that line and never crosses it. Because like if I had ever worked with anybody that crossed the line, I'm 100% calling them out. But I have been fortunate like to be in a lot of people like, man, this guy's fucking or gal has been like just fucking pushing us like hard as fuck. But they've never crossed over that line. So I think a lot of people can step right up to that line and never cross it, and I think that comes with like that level of experience.
I think that there's no evidence to suggest that's the case here, because one, I think that we're judging a fish by its ability to swim, meaning like we're assuming that this is what kitchens are like. Marco Pierre White is like a famous, like he's the godfather of this shit.
Fair.
So we look at that and go, that's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be maniacs. They're supposed to be cruel. So if you're doing just that and not anything more than that, that's acceptable. If you put the way that Marco Pierre White, Gordon Ramsay, and people within that kitchen industry act into any other industry, things like name calling and screaming at your employees is never even close. That's way past the line. So
fair. Okay. Fair.
Like he's already way past the line in what he does on the show.
Assuming he's doing that in outside of a production,
yes,
exaggerated setting, you would be correct. Yes.
And assuming that he's not,
but
is mental gymnastics. I think to go like,
is it?
Yes.
Is it?
No, man.
Really?
Is it?
So do we really think like Krishan and Blueface are actually a healthy couple behind the scenes? Like, what are we doing here?
Come on now, that's not even the same.
It's exactly the same.
Malcolm,
like,
hell no, it ain't.
Okay, get into it.
All right, so for one, oh my God, because this is like because I'm really trying to be careful with how I say this without sounding fucking crazy. Because like in the moral high ground of this conversation, Eddie, you're right. Like I mean, because the ultimate moral social media high ground, safest thing to fucking say and argue against, you're absolutely 100% correct. The reality of how things work and the reality of how in the real world, when you out here really touching fucking grass, it's not like that. Like shit be gray as hell. And then like you have some people out here who would never harm a fly, but to talk to you rough with a purpose to actually get you to be ready and prepared for the hardships of what's going to come with the job. And also,
you make food, bro.
I'm saying, but you got to think. You got to think. No, exactly, because like these are the greats, like the greatest food fucking makers of all. Like these are the greatest fucking food makers. It's a standard that comes with shit. I'm not justifying the actions. I'm just saying maybe here's an explanation of why this person chooses to teach in this particular style. And I've seen it because like you have some people who are really hard asses, and I can tell. And you know what? Let me step back because this is going to sound like an attack. I played sports, so I get it. Like I get it how it is to be in a competitive field.
Now this is going to sound like an attack.
He was like,
but I was on a sports team. That's so crazy.
But niggas who know how to throw a ball, niggas who know how to throw a ball, Edward, look at this shit kind of different.
It wouldn't have been an attack if you hadn't have started the sentence like that.
It wouldn't have.
No one would have been an attack at all. But I was on the football team.
My fault, player. My fault, player.
Now it's a fucking attack.
Now it's a fucking attack. It's on site now, my nigga. My fault.
That'd be like me saying, no offense, but I do read books. Like that way, that's wild as hell.
I read books too, nigga.
Damn,
Audible.
Josh.
But no,
you read more than me. I was just, that was an example.
No,
you did not have to. You did not have to flame that nigga like that. Josh. Like that wouldn't even call.
That's crazy. Y'all been doing.
I know you ain't talking. You ain't got no room to talk, buddy. But,
oh my God,
Alvin do be double mean. You be mean, bro. I'm charged. I'm Rico case.
Alvin be the one that really be flaming this nigga up.
Surviving Alvin
out of nowhere.
I didn't say shit, bro. Like I've been a very neutral co-host. I've been the fucking Switzerland of lead co-host.
Nigga, we got the comments from the people to prove it too.
Documentary.
This nigga Eddie be gaslighting me all the time, bro. Y'all flexed up.
We dropped this
Eddie
documentary soon. It's gonna be black and white, gunshot sound effects.
10,000 hours, man. 10,000 hours.
Okay. 10,000. That's gonna be 10,000 hours. 1,000 hours is gonna be gaslighting and torture. But going back to it though, like I have firsthand experienced what it looks like for someone who appears to be like a hard ass, who appears to yell and cuss you out, but to get you and push you to pass your limits, get you to a greater space, and overall cultivate like a real team environment. We operate on one accord. And they are also like some of the sweetest, most caring people. But they do this because they genuinely do want you to be better. So I have experienced that. And I feel like in that vein, when you're teaching somebody, okay, you want to reach my level of greatness, here's what I had to go through. Like this is this level of standard, and I don't have any time for anything less than that. And I know you got it in you. So if I get pissed off at you, if I get aggravated, I don't have time for all this gentle parenting shit. I got everything. We running a full ass kitchen. Or 5-star Michelin restaurant. I don't have time for gentle parenting. Oh my God. Oh no, you didn't get the potatoes right. Oh, it's okay, Susan. Do you need to cry it out real quick? The customer said it didn't like it. Okay, I'm so sorry. Please, okay, just wash the potatoes off again. Like look,
we'll just tell the customer.
We don't have time for that. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah.
No, you may look. You're speaking facts because I do think that in order to do great things organizationally, it requires that like a strength to command to some extent and to say, hey, look, here's what we're doing. I understand it's going to be difficult. We got to stay on program to get where we're going and to get where all of us have agreed we would like to be. Cool. But I think this idea that requires like tons of like name calling, screaming, verbal abuse is, I think, a myth that's perpetuated by this very specific like masculine power fantasy. I think that all of the stuff that you said is true, but doesn't require that abuse. You can say, hey, look, you need to take a break. You're not like you're fucking up the potatoes. We're gonna need you to step aside. We'll talk about what's going on with you. We're stepping somebody else in as sous chef right now or chef de partie right now. We'll figure it out. Or like, hey, I really need you to speed it up. Like, otherwise, I'm calling you off the line. Like, you can have those conversations without calling somebody a donkey or a piece of shit or a useless motherfucker. Like, none of that helps from a teaching perspective. I think that this is like it's that like Arthur Fletcher, like white guy genius, like fuck you. In order to be great, you must be abusive. You must dominate. And I don't think that that's true. You have to lead. You need strength, but you don't have to be abusive.
And I will just jump in and say that even from the sports perspective, the coaches that I work with better were not the coaches that like belittled us. They were the coaches that held us to an extremely high bar. And I'm thinking of like specific names, right? It was coaches that like we would never cross because like we respected them so much and they were fucking soft spoken. Like they didn't fucking like call me out my name. It was just like, oh fuck.
True.
You know, like I'm not, you know, like I don't want to let this motherfucker down. True. That was and even in my job, like that's the kind of culture that we cultivate. It's like a you're doing this for your team kind of situation. Like you don't want to let anybody down.
True. Exactly.
Like that's how I go into work all the time. Even if I'm like pissed and like I'm overworked and all this kind of situation, I'm like, if I don't step up, then this is somebody else's problem. And I'm not gonna make this somebody else's problem because we're all fucking dealing with the same shit. Yeah. So I think that at the core of what you're saying, Josh, I agree with, but I do think at the fringes of it, I think Eddie's kind of where I'm landing.
Yeah, and I get that too, because when you actually brought up your experience, because I thought about my defensive back coach. He was like that more soft spoken, like funny, like, you know, we fucked with him. I don't want to let him down. And when he got mad, that's when you knew you really fucked up. Like he wasn't just, you know what I'm saying? But there's also that component of, okay, we're trying to push the greatness. Sometimes tempers, angers might flare up, but I get it, just fresh off the cuff. If you just come in cussing and yelling, that's not effective leadership. And personally, I'm going to go with the leader who is more lax, laid back. But I don't think Gordon Ramsay just comes in cussing and yelling all the time. Like it's
but even at the extremes, I'm still making a point at those extremes. And no offense to anybody on this podcast, but I think I'm probably the only person who has worked in kitchens and like commercial kitchens.
Nigga, his first job, Zaxby's, nigga. What's up? You don't get no they don't get no more commercial than that.
Second job, nigga, Taco Bell.
Let's go. What you mean, bro?
Let's go.
What you mean,
Taco Bell, KFC.
Okay.
Combo.
Shoot.
Bro.
Within
the chef
6 months,
podcast today.
Within 6 months, bro, I'm at the head of this motherfucking line, bro, ordering the plates around, telling niggas to drop the chicken. I need chicken fingers, bro.
Next
drop
week
the fries,
is
my nigga, putting the plates together, bro.
Shit.
What you mean, dog?
This nigga said I need chicken fingers.
Let's go. Okay, well, fast casual and fine dining kitchen, then I'll say. Any takers there? No. Okay. So in those situations where you're and look, I mean, to be fair, like fast food is not any different in that regard. Like speed is required, that shit can be super stressful. Like one, it's not that fucking serious. If you calling somebody outside of their fucking name to get a burger done properly or get a steak done properly or to get some fries, it's not that fucking serious. Like, I think that we sometimes forget when we're like trying to go towards greatness, or like we trying to be the best, you know, fry joint in the tri-state area, or we're trying to be the best like football team in our little, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like this shit is not serious enough to justify making somebody feel like shit like that. It's just not that big a deal. Like if we talking about touch grass, it's like, are any of them kids that that you're talking about, are any of them football stars? Did any of them change the world through football? Like, or whatever it was. No.
Them niggas wasn't no remember the Titans. Football.
Right, exactly.
I know.
It's like, come on, like this shit is not that serious. But all of those people are still people. And I feel like we forget that like all the people in these stories of greatness are still people. They still have feelings and have to go through their day and da-da-da-da. And I don't think sacrificing that shit for the purpose of greatness even matters. But
I don't, yeah.
One last bit I'll just say is just, I think that it's not just like how they come in. It is at the extremes. Like when you are trying to lead people through difficult action that requires discipline, that requires commitment, that requires them doing something that maybe they don't quite understand yet because they haven't played the game as long as you or whatever, and it requires pushing people in the moments where you're frustrated, in the moments where they're not quite, accomplishing what you'd like them to accomplish, in the moments where they fuck up. That is precisely the moment when you don't want to belittle, where you don't want to make a person feel shit or add stress where stress is already happening. Mm-hmm. Like that's my point. It like at the extremes is where the judgment is happening here.
I get that. Yeah. And once again, you're right. Okay, because that's why I say like, because when it comes to like the moral high ground of this conversation, absolutely correct. I'll just say this though, across the board, like it doesn't always work. Every method of leadership, every method of leadership doesn't work for everybody. There are many people documented, proven that, hey, like this person was a hard ass. Like, like if they was tough, but they ultimately saved my fucking life. I wouldn't be here without them. Like I would not be, because I was a fuck up. True. And like you got like, what I'm saying? Really my ultimate point is not to negate their actions and be like, oh man, it just is what it is. But like there's sometimes, bro, like there's a place for that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's my question, because we were watching, there's that clip in there that we had of the mother who hires a veteran to discipline her child.
And you talk to your mother like that? Like you tough? Do you think you tough, little man? Talk to me like you talk to your mother.
And I'm very much like, I'm a gentle parenting, da-da-da-da. But I do think I do think maybe there are some extremes where like making someone a little bit scared can be useful. But I guess my question to you is just keeping it within the workplace, professional, like group goal category. When people have this like, he was a hard ass, but he got me through some shit, so I thank him. One, I notice it always tends to be men who are the hard asses in these situations a lot of the time. But two, my question is just like, was that the necessary? Like, was that why? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, they were a hard ass, but it's like, did they need to? That what did it? Because I've got plenty of people who saved my life from being on some fuck shit that were gentle as fuck. Like, I feel like we're making an association with the wrong thing. Like the reason they saved your life is because they gave you structure, they gave you purpose, they spoke life into you, not because they belittled you or bullied you.
And they care for you. I mean, but being a hard ass doesn't necessarily mean belittling somebody though. Like that doesn't always.
The distinction which is the distinction that I'm making here.
And abuse.
Like if we're talking about specific, like I guess we got to get more specific of which things we're talking about to distinguish those two.
I do think that, and I harken back to one of the last scenes, which is becoming a running theme on this podcast, but one of the last scenes for what's the movie? I'm tripping.
Remember the
the music movie.
Whiplash.
I don't know why I'm blanking on it. Whiplash.
Oh,
right?
yes. I was about to say.
We're like
perfect
La La
example.
Land.
Oh yeah,
Miles Tiller's character is having a conversation with J.K. Simmons' character, and Miles Tiller effectively asks him, do you think your methods could have potentially driven like the next, Miles Davis or whoever out of music? And J.K. Simmons' character responds with, what I'm trying to get you to understand is that the next Miles Davis couldn't be driven out of music. So I do think there's something about the fact that like if you have a personal drive and stuff like that person's only going to bring out the best of you. Like I do agree that it's false, but I'm just saying that that's a thinking that a lot of those people have, right?
And I think that that's it's a self-justify. Like that's what every abusive person or like a,
I agree.
Maybe too strong a word, but
I'm bringing it.
Oh, bringing it as a thing to discuss.
I'm not bringing it. Yeah, I'm bringing it up as a discussion point, not as like something that I'm saying like, this is what I'm saying. So I do think a lot of those people think that.
I think they believe it. Yeah.
Coal under pressure makes diamonds. So I think that they truly believe that they are like a net positive.
Yeah.
In the process and not a negative. But I will say again, just to continue to drive it home, that the people that have resonated with me the most, and I've had tons of bosses, in an industry that's completely unforgiving, in an industry that kind of seems like it wants you to be out, like they kind of want to push everybody to the breaking point to see who rises to the top, so they can kind of force out the people that don't. Upper out mentality. I've seen every aspect of this spectrum in higher stakes situations than most people have. I would venture to say I don't respond well to people that do this like belittling, this towing over the line kind of like, as soon as that happens to me, like I'm immediately checking out. I'm immediately giving you my worst work. And the people that have gotten the best out of me are the people that have been able to manage me with grace.
And I think that's what it is. Like, I feel like there's this mythology that we have of, and not to get too like, it's some patriarchal shit. Like, it's this whole like men have to be forged through violence, and like you pass it down to the next person. Like, I don't know if I'm getting too esoteric with it, but it's just very much like, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. It's this very like, violence is necessary in order to raise these kids. But it's like, if you just remove that, you can still just raise this motherfucker. Like, you can still teach a boy love, and you can still teach them discipline, and you can still teach them to like push through, not wanting to do something and push past that without all of this other shit that's like hierarchical, domination based shit. And I just feel like if you start from the premise that, well, if I wasn't verbally aggressive, if I wasn't violent, then towards these people, it would have never discouraged who was it? Miles Davis or whoever. Mm-hmm. You're starting with a mythology that just justifies anything you could possibly do. So of course, that's the mythology that you'll believe. But I think for a lot of them, or a lot of people in that situation, they enjoy it. I think that a lot of these people who are teachers in those positions, it's like, yeah, you're on your third divorce, you a gym teacher, life didn't go great, but you can. Right, but you can beat the shit. You can beat down on these little 13 to 16-year-old in the service of greatness. You ain't Denzel, but in the service of greatness. And it's like, really? Or are you enjoying the fact that you get to be king for a little bit? And I think that's what a lot of it is. You're justifying some bullshit.
Yeah, I agree with that. Generally speaking, totally agree.
Cancel Gordon Ramsay right now.
Man, hey, that's this. Nah. I can't abide by that one.
I like how he is with kids.
I have 3 daughters, Holly, Megan, Matilda, and they always cry in the kitchen, but they cry with laughter, so I'm not leaving till you laugh. Good luck.
You, fuck off out of here.
Me.
Get out. Hey, excuse me, madam.
Pressure.
Fuck me. How about fuck you?
You amaze me every time. Every night you turn up here, you amaze me.
You're a great fucking talker, but you're a shit cook.
But I don't know. I don't like the way he's speaking to adults.
Come on, man, bro. Like, that's not even like that's the most sensationalized shit that he has. And like, it's plenty of content when he's talking to other adults and he's bigging them up. He's made motherfuckers cry on some positive shit just by saying like, this is the best dessert I have ever had. Like, this shit tastes like mine. Like, you did a phenomenal job.
It's a Hollywoodification of what he's doing. Like, I sincerely think that you are underestimating an individual's capacity to be a different person in a show where the premise is them being a hard ass versus how they actually function in their actual. So while I ultimately agree with like the larger points that you're making, I do think that you're missing that particular aspect of it. Yes, like people can 100% be different in their actual like restaurants than versus like the The concept of Hell's Kitchen is him being a hard ass. He's playing a character.
Where did they get that from? No, like, okay, I'm not saying that a person can't exaggerate, but I'm saying that you have to do a mental gymnastic to say that they made a reality TV show about people being ratchet, but none of these people are actually at all ratchet in their life. You're making
okay, hold on, bro.
You're making
Have
up
you not
nonsense.
seen Baps, nigga? Have you not seen Baps?
Oh, come on,
like, you just
described
acting. You just described acting.
No, but it's a reality TV
he's
show.
Like, can you reality TV shows are scripted. Reality TV shows are scripted.
A little directed at least.
Directed at least. Get people that they know have the capacity for some bullshit. Are you
actors? Yeah. Like I get Tom Cruise because I know he can play a part. Yeah. Like,
okay. If we're saying
I get
everybody,
Denzel because I know he can play a part. Yeah.
Okay. So if we're saying that we think that everybody in most of these reality shows are purely just actors and they're not like at all that, then okay, fair enough. I would still say in the case of a kitchen, where do you come up with the concept of a hard ass chef who is abusive to his staff and cast that person and get them to play it if they don't have at least a little bit of the capacity? Now, if we're saying it's purely acted, I'm just going, what evidence are you giving for that? Have we seen him impromptu?
You don't have evidence. You don't have evidence to the contrary either. Like that's my point. Like
my evidence is based off. Okay.
So the point is like, where did they get that premise? Right? It's the same place that like Spike Lee and Denzel got the concept for fucking Malcolm X. Like Denzel wasn't a fucking civil rights activist in the fucking 60s and 70s. So you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So what
we're saying is
they piece together stories. Yeah. They piece together stories from the industry. They create a premise.
Okay.
And then they get actors that push that forward. Yes, that's called acting.
Okay.
Most reality TV shows are scripted. Yes, you get the point that like, I mean, you get the point in the basket where you saying that like they have to get people that have the capacity to like do that, but that's also what they do when they cast for anything. Like when I cast for anything, I need to get somebody that has the capacity to act how I want them to act. So
behave is different than act. Because if Gordon Ramsay had an acting career, sure, but I think when you do reality TV, like these folks are acting, but a lot of this shit, like the fights aren't fake. But sorry, go ahead, Josh.
But like my thing is like you leaning so hard in one direction, but it don't seem like you have a lot of context into who he is as a total person. Like that's
Hey,
like
look,
a compartment
okay.
of what he is able to do. Like yes, and then like once again like his chef, the one of the chefs that taught him was very similar in that vein. So he might have just been channeling his teacher in that role when he talks to people like a donut, because that's like a catchphrase now. Oh, you blimey donut. If that's the worst thing, so oh my god, I can't believe it. I'm going to be in therapy.
He said worse stuff on
it.
it.
Why are we using that as a fucking
He has. But what I'm just saying is though, like this motherfucker is on TikTok collaborating with and then speaking perfectly fine, being perfectly respectful. More often than what the shit that you see on Hell's Kitchen, which was again the premise of the show. It's called Hell's Kitchen for a reason.
Okay, he's not only like that on Hell's Kitchen. He's like that on other shit too. Do we disagree with this?
Like what?
Like
he's still playing the character, man.
Okay,
like,
no.
Like, bring him on
I'm not saying that discounts anything. I'm just saying like it's not like in every other thing he's nothing like that personality, and he only does this character just in Hell's Kitchen. That's the only point I'm making to build off this point.
Okay, that's not the point.
That's fair.
That's not what I said, because I'm just saying. Didn't say he's nothing like that, but it's like no, like this. That's just not the totality of what you're seeing. Like cancel Gordon Ramsay. No,
we're
not canceling Gordon Ramsay. Okay,
I was making one micro
thing
point, so I could. Okay, I was just making a micro point that like if we're going to say one reason we think this is a character is because Hell's Kitchen is a singular way that he acts, and in every other instance where we see him, he's not like that. I'm saying that that's not true. I'm not saying that discounts your whole point. I'm gonna try and address that, but that section of himself as a behavior is a thing that has historically been part of his brand across almost everything that he does. Like even when he does the kid shit, part of the reason that it goes over so well is because it's like, oh, look what this hard ass has the capacity to do in terms of kindness. That's just building block for my point, which is, could he totally just be completely acting and he's not like that in his kitchens at all? Sure, that's a possibility. I'm going based off of how the industry is. The fact that his mentor was like that, the fact that he hasn't come forward and said, hey, you know what? That's the way it's done. You know, that's the way Marco Pierre White did it. I don't do it like that. That's not the way I like to lead a restaurant. That makes me think, okay, this person is a continuation of that. It seems unreasonable to assume that this person is purely channeling a character as opposed to channeling a real experience, given what the industry is. I think what I'm going off of is, I'm not saying he couldn't be innocent, but what I'm going off of is
innocent of what?
It's so hard to believe that a head chef is abusive in the way that head chefs tend to be, and in the way that his head chef was. That doesn't seem like a stretch to me.
Let me ask you a question.
I think you stretched. I think you skipped. I think you had A. I think you skipped B and C, and I think you're at D.
Because like, what? And when you say cancel Gordon Ramsay, like, when is Gordon Ramsay next? Like, what do you want to happen to his career? Like, I mean, what does that look like to you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm most. Am I exaggerating? You know what? I want. If people were made to feel bad working for him, if this is not the case, then I don't want somebody to be canceled for if they didn't do something. But if it is the case that people were emotionally harmed in service of working in his restaurants or working on his shows, because also reality TV is like people in those competitions are trying to make their lives work. Like that shit is not fake. People break down and cry and go, fuck, I spent all my money to get out here and I wanted to do this and I wanted to be a great chef and I got called a bunch of names and they sent me back, to fucking Packing or whatever to where I'm from. That's real shit. So all I'm saying is I suspect that people had their feelings hurt in a way that I think it crosses the line. If that is the case, only if that is the case, that I want them to speak on it. And if that is the case, and they do speak on it, then I think Gordon Ramsay should address it. Yeah, yeah. Maybe. I mean, I think he should address it and condemn it because it's a problem in the industry. Same with Tyra Banks.
You said like 30 ifs, man. You said like 30 ifs.
Of course, okay.
It's like if this, and then if that is true, then this. And then if that is true, then this.
That's
and
me
then
walking
if that
back
is
the
true,
point.
and then this.
100%. That's me walking back the point. So take that as a point.
I mean, it's just like, God damn, bro. Because that's ultimately what I be saying is like people are just so thirsty to get a motherfucker up out of here. That's not even the real villain and the real nigga that we need to be or the real people, organizations that we really need to be getting up out of here. Like, we going.
I was gonna make the worst joke possible.
Go ahead, go for it, please. Go for it.
I was gonna call you Jamie Foxx.
Where you get the afro?
Who is this they?
Right.
Who are you talking about?
Whoa, Jamie.
Let's read the real problem that we need the real solution for. Whoa, calm it down, buddy. What the fuck?
I know this nigga just went full fucking pirate radio with that one. That was a good one.
I can't tell you the background of this particular person, but
I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that. It was a
man. Like, I mean, of course, like there was some people that got their feelings hurt. There was some people that cried and broke down. Like, oh, we're gonna have such a tough time. But I guarantee, if you actually did talk to those people, most of those people. They were like, yo, shit, motherfucking Tyrone around the corner made me cry last week. Gordon Ramsay, nigga, who the fucking is? I mean, at least say that. Like, they're not going to be like, nah, I don't believe he should be canceled and be given such a hard time, like having like shows and opportunities stripped away from him. I don't like this. It's so much more nuanced than that shit. And I think like a lot of social justice motherfuckers be like going way too damn far with it. Like, it's so much more nuanced to life and then how a person develops, builds, and grow outside of your own scope and perspective of what you think life is and what you think life should be. That's all I'm saying.
That sound like a whole lot of nothing to me, honestly.
Okay, cool. Shit, what you want to get? Ask
me
a question.
like I just feel like to say that there is nuance and there's shades of gray and things like that in life, but only in service of not holding people accountable in certain situations, just seems like it's like you could just use that to just do it, to say anything.
All right.
Like that doesn't seem specific to this situation.
Let me further clarify then.
Okay.
When it comes to holding people accountable, we've said this before. Oftentimes people aren't actually looking for accountability. They're looking to punish and make somebody suffer. And it don't matter what the actual crime was. Like if you get put on blast with some shit, then when the internet get wind of your shit, or like Jamie Foxx, huge ass misunderstanding. But that, people honestly, don't.
Yeah.
Real quick, but people don't actually. It's most of the time like you're not actually looking for accountability. Like you're just looking to crucify somebody, and you thinking in your head, "Oh yeah, we're holding him accountable. I'm doing my part by giving him a hard time by pushing the narrative." And I don't think Gordon Ramsay.
I agree.
Because like the totality of what he has done is not like, oh yeah,
let me roll it all the way back.
Next.
Let me roll it all the way back because I mean, low key, I'm not gonna say I was joking, but I was being sort of like a bit flamboyant in terms of like, fuck this nigga. But I also don't want to roll back, like, but that is kind of what I'm feeling. What I'm saying is, I think it would be wonderful if one of the most powerful and famous celebrity chefs were to publicly come forward against the style of aggressive, belittling, abusive culture that is rampant in kitchens across the entire industry, and it is a fact that is the case. I think it would be wonderful if someone said that, especially when your brand has been built on giving the benefit of the doubt, playing a character who embodied that particular toxic element of the industry. I think that's the softest, weakest version of my point that I'd like to put forward.
I can get behind that. Cool.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
We're all aligned now.
All right. We got time for this Jamie Foxx shit real quick?
Low key, not really.
Okay.
First of all, nigga.
I'm in charge. He about to say, I'm in charge, nigga.
I'm the fucking co-host.
I'm the head co-host of this motherfucker.
No, but do we want to push that? Do we want to push that?
No.
Fair enough, man. So I don't know if you're working in a kitchen and you're calling people an idiot sandwich, you might be waving the red flag. However, if you can't foster a performance without belittling people, then those particular bosses might be waving the red flag. This has been Waving the Red Flag podcast. It's been Eddie Budden, Josh. It's been Alvin.
Alvin Luthor, say it right.
Alvin Luthor.
I have no idea who the fuck that is.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's a future guest.
Okay.
Next week, come back for Alvin Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put his information, down below in the chat. Follow that shit. Make sure that you guys follow. Make sure that you guys
he
subscribe.
owned the gas pipes. Just like
make sure you guys hit us up on Patreon. Make sure you guys come through early for the live. We have a good time. We do what we got to do. As a part of the Patreon, you guys can participate in the Discord chat, be a part of our larger community. It's a good time. Eddie's in there doing Eddie shit. Josh is in there doing Josh shit. I have not been in there. I don't know nothing about that shit, but sometimes. But peace. Josh, anything to add?
And that concludes the meeting.
That's why I do this, bro. That's why I do this. I do it for the joy and the laughter of Josh.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you.
Specifically.
Thank you for giving it to me. Yo,
like,
you all right with me,
subscribe.
goddammit.
Comment.
Like, subscribe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Charlotte McGay.
Phenomenal. My nigga said, I don't really be up in there. But yo, it's popping.
Angela
it's popping without me. Oh, also, so for bonus content, like membership, we offer it through YouTube and Spotify as well. So if you want the bonus episodes, you can get that direct. Like if you're listening on Spotify, just hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on YouTube, become a member or join the Patreon. Those are all three ways that you can get the bonus episodes.
You got to cut that shit out with your hand, man, because that shit was weird as shit. You did this.
Did I do like that?
You did this. You did this, and then you didn't count no more. That was it. It was just. So come to the YouTube, subscribe. Spotify, subscribe.
This motherfucker do not. I don't know how to count. What did I do? All different types of numbers. Oh shit. Well, I guess that's it.
We have fun here.
Yes, lots of fun. State mandated fun.
Good times. Good times. We're all a family here at WTRF.
It's a red flag.
Yes, sir.
It's a red flag.